If you could smell fear, it'd be emanating from Mrs. Redback right now. Come on! Oh my goodness, I don't know what to say. I'm shivering with death here watching this. Warning, this video contains graphic images of deadly spiders and a very large and menacing praying mantis. The video contains scenes that some viewers may find distressing, so if you're triggered by seeing the way nature plays out, this video is not for you. Well, hello there. We're going to move into a video which is possibly one of the most requested I've ever seen on my channel. I've been extremely lucky and I found a beautiful and very large praying mantis. Of course, I have my beautiful Redback Spider home full of deadly death, but I didn't want to pull a spider out of here, so I went down to the garden and found a spider in an infested area. I used my magic tool that's going to make me a millionaire. I actually pulled out more than I expected, but I have got one female redback there, and I think the male is hiding out under the lid here. Oh, there he is. I hope that's a male. Nasty little boy. When I used my magical tool to pull the spider out, it was most effective. It pulled out an egg sac, as you can see, but what is really nice to see and to prove a point, there is a dead female redback spider right there. And I'm glad I'm seeing this because it does prove that out in the open and away from my tank, the redbacks are very keen on killing themselves. What I'm going to do is pull the egg sac away. That can go into the spider tank, probably just become food for the groundhog things in there, and also the carcass here of the dead female, and that'll just become food in the spider tank. So down into the wonderment of the tank, and I'll put it in front of Thomas there so he's got something to ponder in the next couple of days. And what I might also do is move the male over to the tank. I like the males, don't ask me why, and he can live in the spider kingdom that is my tank without me getting a bite. The spider tank is a very, very messed up place. The Millennium Falcon is just about being totally buried. In fact, you can barely see it. Thomas the tank is looking like a total train wreck. But overall in there, there is actually lots and lots of spiders. Lots of redbacks which are maturing, which were from the egg sacs which hatched in there. But lots of the spiderlings have sadly passed away. But this video isn't about my redback spider tank. I've got something a little bit different to show in this video. What you're looking at down there is around about week 15. Totally messed up, isn't it? Let's move on to the main event. Okay, down in the jar there, and we've seen lots of them at my house, one beautiful female redback spider. And in the other tank I have got one beautiful and one very large praying mantis. Isn't she or he beautiful? I don't know whether it's male or female. I know the audience will work that out for me. I can tell you this about the praying mantis. It is an expert escape artist. It is very smart. And so many people told me it is the perfect thing to clean up redback spiders, and we're going to find out in this video, I hope. Just as a trivial side note, I have put Vaseline on the roof of this enclosure like I do for my redback spider one. But obviously Mrs. Praying Mantis loves the claw on the wire, and the Vaseline won't stop her. I'll carefully go down there and grab Mrs. Redback by one of her legs, nice and gently, and get her in with the praying mantis. So begins a little game of sit and wait and watch what happens with the insects. And I can tell you right from the start, this is action-packed. I wonder if Mrs. Redback fully understands how dangerous it is in there with that praying mantis. I think when Mrs. Mantis makes a move, it's going to be hard, it's going to be fast, and Mrs. Redback isn't going to have a chance. In fact, I'd say Mrs. Redback is frozen in fright. Mrs. Mantis has moved to the ground here, and she's looking carefully around. If I was Mrs. Redback, I would keep so still, it wouldn't be funny. So many people have asked for this style of video from me, I can tell you. It was just a chance find to find that beautiful praying mantis, and it is a stunner. Man, they are menacing looking, aren't they? The way they move around, just amazing. I know when the time comes it's going to happen so hard and fast, it's going to be pretty tricky to get on camera. It's quite eerie seeing Mrs. Redback so quiet and still. Normally when they're in a new environment they run around like mad, trying to work out what's going on. She must know she's in trouble. The praying mantis is perfectly camouflaged for the environment where she hides. She hides in like grassy, sticky stuff, and that's exactly what she looks like. Man, oh man, I would be so scared if I was at Redback right now. Look who's mooching around on the deck there. Hey, and I mean, I just keep saying, isn't she just stunning to look at? So big and just so beautiful. That's the distance between them at the moment. I'm sure the praying mantis knows what's in there. We'll put it this way, there's only a couple of things in there. There's a stick, there's a bit of blue tack, there's some glass, and a redback spider. And she's probably thinking there's some dork of a camera that keeps poking the lens at me. One of these things I don't know when to turn the camera on or off. It's the closest they've been now. Hello, are you my friend or foe? She must know what's there. That redback is so still. Man, I've got goosebumps just looking at this. I just don't know what's going to happen. It is petrifying to watch this. And nature is super scary in this mode, I can tell you. She's cleaning her feet or something there. Maybe she likes to have a tidy set of shoes before she kills. Oh man, what is going to happen here, eh? She's right above the redback, but she's still cleaning her shoes. Not a movement for Mrs. Redback, you know why? Because just there is Mrs. Praying Mantis. I'm going to call it a girl. I'm calling it, okay? I don't care what you say. And she's still tidying up her little feet there. Probably from the Vaseline, I dare say. I've just worked it out myself. I'm a bit slow, aren't I? I'm just keeping my camera on this. It's one of those things. I know when they go for the pounce and the capture, it happens super fast. She must know what's there. Because, put it this way, there's basically nothing else in the tank that looks like food to her. What's she gonna do? She seems a little bit indecisive and she's moving away. Whew, that redback spider's just got a massive sigh of relief. Well, if insects have body language, I'm saying the body language from the redback is saying it knows it's in trouble, it knows it's got a major predator nearby, but the praying mantis is going to do what it does in time. I can't force nature to work in front of us. I've just got to pace this out myself. And that's the situation at the moment. The redback hasn't moved an inch and the praying mantis is still cleaning its shoes. Hopefully there's a bit of a nice view of her mouth area, which is perfectly designed to devour things she captures. Like I said, that looks like something from Aliens, doesn't it? It looks very evil. She's still very eagerly cleaning herself up. I'm pretty sure she knows there's a nice meal in there for her. There's a nice close-up view of underneath of her. I'm calling it a her. Maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong. And there is her bumsicle part. And it's all gone wrong on me because she's moved. She's just hanging from a bit of stick there and still cleaning herself. That's such a beautiful critter. You can't keep your eyes off her, can you? Very easy to pick up. They're very gentle critters, unless you're an insect about to be eaten. And they've got wings and they can fly. Just amazing to see them fly. Mrs. Redback is down there and she still hasn't been moving around. And of course up in the foreground here is Mrs. Mantis, busily cleaning. Mrs. Redback's made a movement there, but she's not really scampering about like I'd expect. And there she is in relationship to Mrs. Mantis. Mrs. Mantis has made some moves there, and Mrs. Redback is, well, keeping very, very still and balled up, isn't she? That's not the aggressive nature I've seen from those spiders other times when there's insects about. If you could smell fear, it'd be emanating from Mrs. Redback right now. That's how it looks at the moment. Mrs. Praying Mantis trawling the glass out of the back. Mrs. Redback being extremely careful. One of those things you just don't know what's going to happen next. So frightful videos for me to make because I've got no way of predicting what these critters are going to do. They sort of have a critter mind of themselves, and you can't say, hey, and rolling and action and mantis eat spider. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. But I'll tell you one thing, it's not happening as fast as what I remember people saying. Oh, you put a mantis of a redback and bang, it's gone, it's over, all over Red Rover, mind you. Oh my goodness me, whoa, what was that? Oh, the redback is on the move, and it doesn't like to move in there because it's very fearful. It's scampering up the back there. There you go. Do the spiders climb glass? Well, they can if they've given a bit of time. They do struggle if there's no web set up in their tank. Can mantises climb glass? Yes, with these. They are amazing acrobats. They can escape in an instant if they want. Mrs. Redback is there scampering around and checking out her own reflection. And there might be another time here when they get very close. Ooh, okay. As I say, the mantis, if it can't see that, There's something seriously wrong with its eyesight. It needs to go to Specsavers. No, it's as if they don't know each other's there. I think the spider knows what's there. But there you go, the Mantis has gone to the back of the tank. Well, Mrs. Mantis is again just zoomed by Mrs. Redback there. That's about the third time they've come in close contact and nothing much has happened. Now, of course, in this equation, there's always a chance the Redback might get a bite in. Ever thought of that? Ever thought of that? Hey, it's funny, people often just make up their mind that something will win over another. I've seen time and time again the Redback Spider is a very capable killer. Okay, I've got them very close together now. I'm not seeing Mrs. Redback do the things she does when there's things that she wants to eat around. She's just keeping totally still. Mrs. Praying Mantis, ooh, hello. Hello, lovey. Do you want to be eaten for dinner? I don't think Mrs. Redback is wanting to be part of that game. Now, I'll be quite honest with you, I thought Mrs. Praying Mantis would have done her capture and munch then, but I'm not seeing it. While Mrs. Praying Mantis is like that, you can see the barbs under those arms there, so when she snatches something, it gets caught in the barbs and there's, well, basically no escape. Well, Mrs. Praying Mantis is just, well, sort of in a way hovering next to Mrs. Redback, and Mrs. Redback doesn't do much moving. She's very cautious. I just wonder what Mrs. Praying Mantis is thinking here. All I know is she must be a bit of a OCD type person when it comes to cleaning. She just never stops cleaning herself. Was it 4 or 5 times I've seen the two come very close, but no snatch and grab yet. Sometimes she does like a swaying thing. That is Mrs. Praying Mantis. Isn't that part of their little trick before they're going to kill something? I think the white dots in the middle of the screen there is poop from Mrs. Redback. You know why? Because she had a brush with Mrs. Praying Mantis. Mrs. Redback has just done a strategic move there. She's also laid out some sticky web, so maybe she's on the fighting mode now. I'm not sure whether you can see it. She's got a little bit of web between her front legs that were hanging in the air there. Okay, so she laid web against the stick there with little globules along the way, like bits of the sticky area. And maybe she's got a little trap laid out for Mrs. Mantis. Don't give up on Mrs. Redback Spider there. You know, now she's got some web out, I'm starting to think she's got a plan. I know they are completely skilled at killing things. Even themselves, I've seen it over and over in my spider tank. Yeah, the Redback Spider, as one of its main tricks is its web. Well, lots of spiders use web, don't they? But it's got this really, really sticky web that it uses to capture prey. And what you can see there is just at the front claws of the Praying Mantis, there's a piece of web there. I hope you can see that. It's very, very thin, but it's certainly run up against that timber there. In fact, I think the back leg here of Mrs. Mantis is stuck on some sticky web that the Redback laid down when it ran up to the top there. I'm sure Mrs. Redback has got a plan. She's just waiting for the right time to execute her final act. Okay, so the Mantis is in a bit of trouble at the moment. Its back leg there is stuck with some sticky web on the twig, and all of a sudden the chances of the Redback being taken out has swung the other way. Now Mrs. Redback is poised at the right end of this beast because, well, the nasty bit is up the front. If she can get a bite into the back leg, well, it's good night sister to Mrs. Praying Mantis. Oh, and she's coming in for a move here. Oh man, I'm getting massive tingles, I can tell you. I'm just going to try and get in closer. I have to be very careful here with the focus and everything. Sorry to talk boring camera talk, but I've got to really be careful here. I would say Mrs. Redback is going to come in for a bite on the back leg. And I would say Mrs. Praying Mantis is going to really react to that. So she's going to have to be very careful what she does next. Man, I personally never thought it was going to swing this way. But then again, in the back of my mind, I've always got confidence in the Redback Spider, and I've shown that over and over and over in my videos, hey? Will it play out in the Redback's way? This is going to really bust up some myths that I've been told about these spiders and Praying Mantises, I can tell you. Got it reframed and refocused again, and I would say the Redback Spider is just waiting for the time to come in and bite that back leg, get some venom in, because I'm pretty sure it's stuck with a sticky web on that twig. Wow, I don't know what to say. I'm quite astonished that this is playing out like this. Just notice how tensed up the Redback is. That's that position, that attack position they get, okay? Maybe the Mantis knows it's in a bit of trouble there, for the fact it hasn't moved its leg off that twig. I thought it may have wanted to pull itself away, but I think the Redback's just waiting for a strike time. Just getting my breath there. It's very, very tense in this tank at the moment. Very tense. That Redback is just waiting for the right moment. The camera has been rolling on this for quite a few minutes now. Obviously I'm going to edit it right down, and I'm sure it's going to come in for the strike. I sort of know the way these evil girls work. Oh, you can just see those movements she's got there. And it's one of these things. It's one of these critters is going to die. Okay, and all of a sudden, well, if you had your money on the praying mantis, looks like you may be losing it. I'll be honest here. I think the Redback's going to win this. But who knows, it may swing the other way. It's just so knife edge in there at the moment, it's not funny. The Mantis is doing some more movements at the front there, but I'm just staying on the Redback because I think that's the money shot. Wow, I just don't know what to say. It has caught me completely by surprise for the way the Redback has set up a plan to basically capture this praying mantis. Ooh, Redback just reached forward then. It's basically got its legs. It's got two legs on the praying mantis's leg, and it's just probably just feeling out for the right time to pounce. It's like the Mad Max line, 2 shall enter and 1 shall leave. Hope I remembered it correctly. Sorry if I've got it wrong. Ooh, big movements there from the praying mantis. Still hasn't been able to free its leg there. I mean, this is all dependent on the capture of that leg, really. If it frees its leg, well, the balance goes well anyway, doesn't it? It sort of evens up the odds of who's going to get killed. The mantis has been moving around. I would say it knows it may be in trouble for the fact it hasn't been able to move the back leg. And that Redback Spider is just waiting for the right moment to strike. It would know if it gets it wrong, it's going to be in trouble itself. It's just so tense, it's not funny. Maybe the mantis is going to make a move here. I would have thought by this time it would have made some grand effort to move. I just don't know which way it's going to swing, and I'm so frightful to turn the camera off. It's one of those things, you know, who knows which way. Oh, the leg is just free there. God. So, the power play of what I thought was going to happen isn't going to happen now. The Redback is just sitting under there. It could have the opportunity to strike and bite if it wants. It's in the position I've seen them in before they do something troublesome. Legs sprung. Probably got a grabby backside of sticky web ready to deploy. And noticing the back legs are sort of in the air a bit there. And they use the back legs really well to deploy web and fling the sticky web as well. Yeah, I'm sure that Redback has got a grand plan to pull it her way. Ooh, big moves now. Whoa, Mrs. Redback has done a big move there. She's sort of protected underneath the branch. And the praying mantis, wow, she would have had an opportunity to get a bite in there, I'm sure. If she's there, it's going to be very hard for the mantis to grab hold of her. Oh man, these critters are so close to each other at the moment. Oh my goodness me. Oh, and the mantis may be in a pouncing strike there. Oh, now I'm thinking back, it's the mantis's opportunity. Mrs. Redback is very much on the, well, I don't like it when the mantis pulls its arms back like that. That's menacing, isn't it? Oh my goodness, I don't know what to say. I'm shivering with death here watching this. And I think the Redback might understand it's in a lot of peril. It's just swung around completely the other way now. man, I'm trying to keep this footage as non-wonky as possible, but it's so exciting. I don't know what to say. It's just going to be... I just feel it's going to be very close to the end now. The Mantis is in prime position to take that Redback. Mind you, I haven't seen a sticky web bizzo. The Redback does normally be spraying web out trying to capture things. The Mantis must be close to taking a strike. It's got to be so. In fact, I think it's got one of the back legs there. Oh, it's just swung around so fast. Oh my goodness. The Redback is just sitting there. The Mantis is actually just backing away for a bit. Okay, there's Mrs. Mantis. I wonder if she got a bite in or something. Oh man, I just don't know which way it swings, you know. It's just like a roundabout of death, isn't it? You just don't know who's going to get on and who's going to get off. Now, from what I saw then, that was a grand opportunity to take out Mrs. Redback, but it didn't happen. I'll tell you what, I've seen Mrs. Redback have her opportunities as well. I'm semi-worried about Mrs. Mantis there. She's doing some very strange movements with her front arms there. She's constantly cleaning. Wish she'd stop that. She's naughty, isn't she? But I don't like the fact she's doing some very strange shivering moves. And that can sometimes mean there's a sign of a spider bite. Well, I've got to say, this is one of the most tense videos I've ever made for YouTube. I've just been mortified in watching this and seeing the way it swings from critter to critter. I'm a little bit worried about Mrs. Mantis' health. She's not sprightly like she was before. She's sort of hanging and dangling there, and she has these shivers that I don't like the look of. Often I've seen things get shivers after they get a Redback bite. Mrs. Redback, she's strung out a little web system there. That's their comfort zone when they're in the web. And I'll tell you what, at the moment, she's looking like the victor. Mrs. Mantis isn't herself. I think that's the best way I could describe it. And if she has landed a bite from Mrs. Redback, she's going to be in a lot of pain. And that's, in a sense, very, very sad. Oh yeah, is it time to rewrite the nature history books, hey? If I had asked people who would win in the battle between these two before the video, I think 99% of the people say, oh Leo, the praying mantis for sure. But is that actually the case? Well, really, I want to see the Redback come in and do its final act before I'm calling this one. I'm just noticing some strange spasms from the rear end of the mantis there. I mean, to me it's got all the hallmarks of venom taking effect. Like, I'm not an expert on this, so I'm just sort of trying to put two and two together from what I've been watching in the tank. If that spider got a bite in, it must have happened very fast, so hopefully I've caught it on video. I have to go back and have a very careful look at what went on. We will go back and we will study this section of the fight here. I can slow the video up in some parts, I can return to normal speed in others. The Redback Spider has acted very fast, I feel. Because there's a twig there are some things that we can't see, so there are times when I can't see all the praying mantis and I can't see the Redback Spider's fangs, but I've got a sneaky suspicion this is the time when the Redback Spider gets a partial bite into the praying mantis. But don't discount the praying mantis because it is not down and out for the fight yet. There's still a ton of fight left in this venom-affected praying mantis. But maybe in this battle it's a classic example of missed opportunity. Sometimes you only get one chance to take out your opponent. If you miss that, well then you're going to be taken out yourself. Because there were lots of edits in this video, and I kept recording at the time when the praying mantis had its leg stuck on the twig and then moved its leg, it was a good 20 minutes. The Redback Spider was prepared to wait out its time and not rush in. I'm sure the Redback Spider knew it was up against something which was really deadly. Watch very carefully this bit of video here. I think the Redback Spider gets a bite into like the front claw of the praying mantis, and I'll go over this again and we'll go in closer. But I think this is the time it's happened, like, you know, behind the twig and everything else. But I think the spider's in the right position, the leg is in the right position, the fangs would be in that area. And the Redback Spider, if it gets an opportunity at a place like that, it's going to take it. And I think it's taken it at that point there. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I know there'll be some people that say, Leo, these videos are far too long. We just want to see the kill. But you need to see the strategy behind the kill. I think that's really important to see. Yeah, about 10 minutes has gone by since the scuffle on the branch, and the mantis is looking very, very poor. I'd say it's gone. Redback's just moved down, having a bit of a taste of what's going on, or whatever it does with its legs. It's right near the mantis's legs, which hang from the branch. Oh, and the redback is coming down on the web now. It's right above the head of the mantis, if that makes any sense. I don't want to take my frame off this. I want to see what the spider's up to. Whoa! The redback is being pushed over to his back there. It's a bit unusual, isn't it? Sort of maybe it's feeling threatened. I don't know, perfect opportunity to get a bite in, but just sort of sat there. It's very cautious around the mantis, that's one thing I would say, very cautious. It's been epic to watch. There's been plenty of chances for both critters to land a good punch. And the redback is in that strange ball that it does. It's like when they're threatened, they go into like a ball or they get in their backs. But it's right near a leg there. It's got a perfect chance for a bite. Yes, Mrs. Mantis has lost a lot of her zing, I can tell you. Mind you, there are moments when she looks like she's okay, but I really think she's had a bite from Mrs. Redback. Well, this is starting to feel like about half an hour after what I think was the bite into Mrs. Mantis. She's just not going anywhere. She's sort of in the same zone. Mrs. Redback is coming up, just underneath her there. I think there's one word I'd like to use with what I've witnessed, and that's the word strategy. I think we would have seen each critter here play out its strong card, and then the strong card would get passed from critter to critter. I think the redback advantage is when it's working on the rear end, or the rear end of the praying mantis, away from those nasty claws. I'm pretty sure for a short time there one leg was caught in the claw, but if a bite gets into a leg, well, there's not much hope for Mrs. Mantis. Now, if you ask me, Mrs. Redback's in that strike position again. They get sort of frozen. One thing I haven't really seen her do is spin out the web from her backside and string things up. Maybe she deals with praying mantises a little bit differently. Again, I see Mrs. Redback right in the danger zone of the praying mantis, but I'm not seeing the praying mantis do the praying mantis-y sort of things. It's extremely slow, the venom effect on the mantis. I mean, I haven't seen it climb. All I've seen is like spasms from the legs, and I'm not seeing it do its classic sort of capturing thing that mantises are so good at. It's funny, it goes through motions where you think mantis is going to do something very mantis-y, but it just seems like it's got no strength. It must be fighting the venom effects inside. Redback's got control of the situation. In its web there, and just down below it, Mrs. Mantis, with the inability to take control of anything at the moment, as her life whisks away from her. I'm seeing some strange movements up the back end of Mrs. Mantis. I don't know whether that's spasms from the spider venom. I'm sure some expert out there can explain to me exactly what's going on here. Mrs. Mantis is in the perfect place to strike there, but unfortunately she hasn't got the strength to do so. My son's come down and he's looking at the spider tank here. He was very curious to see what would go on because he saw Daddy catch the mantis. Who do you think's going to win the battle?
I think the mantis is.
What if I told you that the redback spider is going to win? What would you do?
I'll punch you in the face.
That's one way to fix up a redback spider. I think that would knock it out. I think you got to punch it in the bum. There's a trick where the web's made, isn't it?
Yeah.
The web's a dangerous thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like the redbacks?
No.
No. You have to be very careful in our garden, don't you?
Yeah.
Especially around the Tonka toys.
Yeah.
I'm still in shock about how that played out. I'm sure, all the experts online would have said that praying mantis is going to take out that redback really fast. Well, it didn't happen like that, did it? The redback gets another stripe versus one of its major predators. Well, Mrs. Redback is doing a walking around in a menacing way, and if I go down here, we'll see that Mrs. Praying Mantis is in her final legs, I dare say. It has been quite troublesome to see how slowly she's been dying. When I see that, one can only imagine there's more pain-headed Mrs. Mantis's way. Well, I think we've seen enough of this. It has been a very stressful video for me to make because it's taken many hours for this to play out. In fact, about 4 hours, but you won't know that by watching the video because it'll all be condensed in time. It was a great strategy game here. Both critters in there had fantastic opportunities to make a strike and a win. I think, from memory at the start there, the Redback Spider was very still and idle, but I think it was summing up exactly who it was up against. I'm pretty sure it knew it was in a lot of peril. It also had no web out. Now, one of the great strengths of the Redback Spider is its web. Once that web was out, in a funny way, the game started to change. That praying mantis had plenty of opportunities to basically grab that Redback Spider, like take control of its legs. And once you've done that, you've taken control of its web as well, because it uses the back legs to spray out its very dangerous web. I'm as surprised, probably as you are, but in a funny way in the back of my mind, I do have faith in the Redback Spider because I've just seen so much of their evil activity going on in my Redback Spider tank. I know there's going to be people who won't understand this video because they say, oh, but Leo, that was terrible. You know, you should have come in and as soon as you saw the Mantis was in a lot of trouble, you should have knocked the Mantis on the head. But hey, I want to see nature play out as nature does. People are going to say, but Leo, this won't happen in nature like this. Well, who knows? Maybe it does. With the skink, I'm pretty sure I proved to you that yes, the Redback Spiders can take out skinks. In fact, there's been videos up online of Redback Spiders taking out small red-bellied black snakes. The Redback Spider is totally awesome. Don't underestimate it. It is an amazing killing machine. And that has been the whole idea of these Redback Spider videos. I've learnt tons watching these videos. But this one here, I think, is the one where I learnt the most. Don't believe what everyone says online saying, oh, the praying mantis will be the no-brainer and all this. It'll take out the Redback in an instant. It didn't happen like that, and I've got the video to prove it. Maybe I've decided the fate of the praying mantis far too soon. I ended up putting a time-lapse camera over the venom-affected praying mantis because I was curious to see the effects of the venom on this very large critter. I was also curious to see if the Redback Spider would come down and take advantage and get more venom bites into the praying mantis. One thing that Redback Spiders tend to do once they've taken a bite of something is they'll put some of their web around it and basically catch it as something to eat. But for some strange reason, the Redback Spider was very standoffish with this praying mantis, so maybe it knew something that I didn't know. And this is where this critter battle takes a huge bender into the unknown. Maybe this large praying mantis has got a way of diminishing the effect of the Redback Spider's deadly venom. But there's one thing that I can assure you is that this bug battle is not over yet. This is the next day and the praying mantis has got a huge second wind going on. I've got no idea how this has happened. I thought it was gone and it's looking extremely menacing. Talk about a second wind. This is amazing to witness. So if you were gambling on the result of the first battle and you were backing the Redback Spider, you thought you'd win, didn't you? Who's going to win in the second battle? Can the deadly Australian Redback Spider set up the same trap again against a very, very angry giant praying mantis?